The day is finally here to talk about the game I have been waiting 4 long months to finally release. Today, we are talking about Potions Permit that is just under £17 on the eShop right now. And not to spoil anything, but this might be my favorite cozy game of 2022 so far. And before you say, Eeowna, what about Disney Dreamlight Valley? There's too many glitches in that game for it to be a favorite cozy game of 2022, okay? Potions Permit beats it hands down. Before we dive headfirst into this review, I just want to put a quick note in. I'm recording this video after the game has already launched to the public. On release day, there was a patch that basically took my entire list of bugs in this game and reduced it down to just 2. So if you're watching a review of this game and it is before version 1.03, many of the bugs they will have spoken about have already been fixed. So this is basically as up-to-date a review as I could possibly do. And just a reminder, if you love all things cozy on the Nintendo Switch, make sure you subscribe to my channel down below. I put out new videos every single week, and we are literally this close to 30k, so I'd really appreciate it. Before we dive headfirst into the review, first of all, I want to talk about the art and the music, both of which just exude the quintessential comfy, cozy vibes. And you only need to look at this game for a second to know that you're going to feel warm and fuzzy at playing this game. And that feeling doesn't go away, no matter whether you've played it for the first hour or many hours like I have. The game maintains this feeling throughout the whole thing. There have been so many occasions where interacting with characters in this game have left me with a big smile across my face. And if I had to describe this game in just one word, it would be wholesome. I thought in a game where it's centered around you helping people, that would be the gratifying feeling. But instead, I was blown away at the ways in which the townspeople showed their gratitude back to me. And it had me feeling a lot. Potions Permit sees you, a chemist, travel from the capital to the small town Moonbury. And can I just say, as someone who has a PhD in chemistry, I love the fact I'm playing as a chemist. It makes me feel like I'm applying my degree. And although you're sent to the town to help its people strongly dislike you. As a chemist, your job in the town is to heal the sick, no matter what their ailment is, and brew them a potion of your making to cure them. You do this with a series of mini-games, and although they're slightly repetitive, they somehow never seem to get old. In order to cure them, you must first diagnose them, and you can either do this with a rhythm game or a memory game, both relatively simple and easy enough to do when you're lying half asleep in bed. Despite having relatively small hands, it turns out my thumb alone is way too big to do these rhythm games on the D-pad because I was pressing all the buttons at once. So the Pro Controller definitely came in clutch for this. And once diagnosed, you go to the house to brew up a potion in a Tetris-like minigame that we'll touch on later. Healing the villagers successfully increases your reputation in the town. And over time, the townspeople gradually start to warm up to you. As you learn more about them, you start to discover the real reason why they disliked you so much when you first arrived. The last time they had a capital chemist in their town, they did experiments that ended up destroying the entire ecosystem. And you can even see firsthand the damage that they've done. So soon your job not only becomes helping to heal the people, but also trying to repair all the damage of the chemists who came before you. And although the town starts off a little rough around the edges, as you get to know the people and help them, the town slowly begins to transform. The thing that really made this game for me, it wasn't the music, it wasn't the graphics, it wasn't the world building. It was the characters. Each of the characters is brought to life through the cutscenes that you get through the relationship system. This is far simpler than the likes of Stardew, where you just need to talk to them to increase your friendship level, and there's just one present that you can give to every single villager. Friendship comes in different levels, and once you've maxed out one level, you run over to the bulletin board, and it will tell you where to meet the character for their cutscene. I really like this way of doing it because if you're really busy in that exact moment of time, you don't have to do the cutscene right there and then. And you can put it off for as long as you want to until you're ready. Each cutscene gives you a little glimpse into who the character is. And with every level you increase, you learn a little bit more about them. Like for example, Martha, who needs to be told to take breaks because she works so hard endlessly. Or Helene, who doesn't know how to tell her boss and her friend that her high expectations are ruining her work life. Every character's depth surprised me in the most beautiful way, and you'll be glad to know that there are romanceable NPCs, which I think you can date regardless of which appearance you select at the start of the game. Although there aren't that many NPCs you can date in this game, some of them are dating each other, which obviously means that you can't date them. And if you're a lover of Stardew, you might need to know you can only date and marry one person, and you can't divorce them to date someone else. So when you're picking someone you want to marry, you only get one shot, so don't mess up. You can also level up your friendships with animals too. Not only your pet dog, but also the cats running around. Speaking of your dog, they demand pets and foods every so often. I haven't found any dog food yet, nor have I found any food my dog really likes. But I did learn to not feed your dog milkshakes. He really didn't like that. Also, as your dog levels up, they unlock new skills. My dog can now dig up truffles, which I think is a pretty useful skill, to be honest. Apart from socializing, there is so much to do each and every day. Time runs similarly to Stardew, only each day seems to be longer, which I do really enjoy because I don't feel panicked to get everything done in the day, and I often end up in bed in the game before 9 PM anyway. The only slight frustration is that the game only saves when you go to sleep, which, as the days are slightly longer, can be slightly annoying. Although I feel like on the Nintendo Switch it's not a big deal, as you can just put your Switch to sleep and pick up where you left off the next day. There's also the main story quest to do each and every day, which is ultimately about undoing the mistakes of the previous chemist. Some days you'll be woken up to this sound. This means there's someone sick who needs to be treated. As I said earlier, diagnosing them is simple with a little mini game, and once diagnosed, you'll know which potions you need to brew. This is where I feel like the fun really starts. Potion brewing is basically a Tetris minigame where you need to fill the shape that you see on the screen. The more complex the potion, the harder these shapes are to fill. Every ingredient you use has a different shape, and you can't rotate them whatsoever, so if you can't find the correct shape, you need to go forage for new ingredients. These can be found in the furthest reaches of the meadows. You can find plants like lavender, food items like corn, and then also you'll come across enemies that once slain will drop other items that you can use in your potions. The more areas you unlock and the further you explore through the land will unlock larger and more obscure shapes of ingredients, which really help with difficult potions. On top of that, the really difficult potions come with limitations. Every single ingredient you find has an element attributed to it, and the really difficult potions will limit which elements can be used. Sometimes only letting you use 2 out of the 4, which literally cuts in half the number of shapes you can use. And to make it even harder, they limit how many ingredients you can use, which right at the start is only 5. Because we all know if they didn't limit how many ingredients you could use, everyone would just use the single block like 20 times to make the shape. Even though for the most part all the potions are really simple, every so often I really did get stumped by the shape it gave me. I was worried the whole going out and foraging for ingredients part would get really boring really fast. But actually you unlock new areas pretty often, which means there's always more to explore and harder enemies to defeat. I'm on to my 3rd area so far, and I've been really enjoying the variety between each area. There is a stamina mechanic in this game, but literally the only time you use it is when you're foraging to get resources. Be it chopping down trees, hitting rocks, or fighting enemies, all of which uses stamina. Speaking of fighting enemies, the combat itself isn't that big a deal, especially as there's a dodge button as well. They're more annoying than difficult, like if you're trying to chop down a tree, they'll just randomly start attacking you, but they're no big deal. The map itself has different sections, and I love the fact that you can fast travel to each of them. New areas will be unlocked by leveling up through the main quests. And once leveled up, each area requires you to do a series of tasks to unlock it. Like for example, in the 2nd area, you need to pull in a few townspeople to help you fix the cable car. The only annoying thing about the tasks the villagers get you to do is it often comes alongside of a huge amount of resources you need to gather. I think for the most recent area, you needed something ridiculous like 600 wood and 500 stone, which took me a good solid 3 in-game days to manage. Now, if all of this already doesn't sound like enough to do. There's even more. You can fish. You can also go play whack-a-mole in a place that I think is meant to be a casino, but it can't actually be a casino because otherwise the game won't be made suitable for kids. There's other small mini games you can do around the town for some extra cash, or you can even take on some small quests for some extra money. But despite all of this, I never felt rushed. When you have someone to treat, it gives you 4 days to treat them. So far in my many hours playing this game, it's never taken me more than the morning to cure them. The mini games themselves are hard enough to not feel boring, but not so hard that it's stressful. And none of the quests have time limits. The controls work really well with the controller, far better than they did with the keyboard controls from the demo. The only thing that feels a bit slow is navigating the map. I wish there was a way you could just toggle between each of the fast travel locations. There were a few things that let the game down. First of all is the frame drops. Every now and again, the game basically pauses for a split second. It's not even just when it's loading, it happens when you're fighting, standing still. So I don't really know what that's about. I hope they patch that. Another weird bug I found was with one fast travel location. Sometimes when I selected that one place, it would shove me somewhere really random in the map that you'd be stuck out of bounds. Thankfully, it was an easy fix. You just fast traveled somewhere else. But the fact that it was completely random meant I kept on forgetting about it, and then I would just find myself stranded in the middle of the woods. And sometimes the animation when you walk through doors has some weird things flash up every now and again. But those are all minor gripes and things that can be fixed later on. This game just resonated to me so much. And it definitely feels like you're doing more than just helping the sick. Like, yeah, you hand them potions when they're ill and help the town get back on its feet. But it feels like more than that. Thanks to the incredible character writing, it feels like you're helping real people. You listen when someone needs someone to talk to. You lend them a hand when they need help. And you help them far beyond just brewing them a potion. And when you think the game can't get any more wholesome, you see just incredible cutscenes. This is the definition of a feel-good game, honestly. And I haven't been able to put this game down since the moment I downloaded it onto my Switch. And I'm definitely going to end up marrying Martha. I've already decided she's the gal for me. I can't wait to see what the wedding's like. And I can easily say this is my #1 cozy game on the Switch. And it's not even a farming sim. Am I okay? Let me know your thoughts on this game if you picked it up in the comments down below. And if you want to see some absolute bargains on the eShop right now, click this link here. I'll see you next time. Bye.